For the moment being, I raised my hands. Guys, I really don't want any trouble, I said. I went ahead and took care of at least one of the bad guys for you. But I think it's about time for me to leave. So, there's no chance that you're just gonna let me go, is there? Get on the ground, they shouted. Oh, I didn't think so. Shit, how do I get out of this? There's no way I'm gonna hurt these guys. They're just cops. They're doing their jobs. I could run backwards. After all, I can smash through the glass of the outside fairly easily. But then I'm left once again playing the try to catch myself before I hit the ground game, which isn't so fun. And getting past these guys to the elevator isn't an option either, at least not without hurting them, which I'm not gonna do. Brain, come on, help me out here. I know there are some ideas in there. Work. If you are not on the ground by the count of 3, we will open fire, they shouted. Shit, I thought to myself. 3 seconds, Brain, come on. Work with me here. And then it occurred to me. Yeah, that might work. It accomplishes everything I need. I mean, it is a bit wild man-ish, but it's the best I've got. 3! The SWAT guy at the end of the hallway started shouting. 2! Okay, it's now or never, Brain, I thought. I turned around as quickly as I could and started running down the hallway, straight for the outside window. The SWAT guy stopped counting and immediately opened fire. Bullets started ricocheting off the outside of the back of my arm, which luckily was pretty solid, so I didn't really feel a thing. Just some minor vibrations from the impacts. And there were a lot of them. These guys were actually pretty good shots. But then again, at the moment I was a fairly easy target. Big armor dude running down the center of a hallway. Yeah, not too hard to hit. Quickly, I extended a chain out of my armor with a hook at the end of it. There was a fairly large support pillar on the way out. As I ran past, I slammed the steel hook into the support pillar, continuing to extend the chain along it as I neared the window, smashing through and beginning to fall down, but not too far. I extended the chain enough to get at least to the next floor before stopping. My body jerked back for a moment, the inertia completely coming to a stop, halted by the tension of the chain as I flew through the air. And then I began to fall in a downward swing, swinging back towards Barrett Tower, smashing through another glass window. Apparently I was able to get 2 floors out of it. Unfortunately, it didn't work out exactly as expected, as I failed to account for the length of the chain, and after smashing through the glass window, kept swinging. The chain caught on the ceiling above, my body swinging upward, slamming into the ceiling. I finally told the hook to break down. As the chain detached and the liquid metal began to flow back to me, I was just in the process of finally hitting the ground, 2 floors beneath the SWAT team. I have to say, if I wasn't wearing an armor suit, that would probably have hurt like hell. Not as heroic as I would have hoped, but hey, I got out and I didn't have to hurt the cops. For the moment, I'll consider it a win, I thought to myself, as the last bits of liquid steel formed back to my armor. I stood up, bolting towards the elevator. I have to get into the shaft before those guys start trying to take the elevator back down. Reaching the doors, I slammed my hands in, pulling them open. I looked up to see that the elevator wasn't moving yet. That's good. But next problem that I hadn't thought about. With the elevator above me, so were the cables to the elevator. There was nothing to hook my winch to in order to move down the floors. Okay, this I wish I had thought about. Nylea, I said, feeling very concerned about the thought going through my head. Exactly how strong is this armor? Exactly how far could I fall and not be fatally injured, maimed, or killed? The armor can withstand a great deal of force, Kevin. The power of the king absorbs shockwaves, like most other substances could only dream of. But it is not unlimited. With the amount of distance between us and the ground floor, you would most likely sustain serious injury if you were to impact without some sort of brace. And as Nylea said it, a thought occurred to me. A brace. Something to cushion the fall, slow me down before I hit the bottom. Okay, I have the idea. Now the only question is if it'll actually work. At this point, it's a gamble, but I'm gonna have to take it, I thought to myself as I heard the elevator above me starting to move. Now or never, I said, jumping down the elevator shaft, trying to stay as centered as I could. I rapidly began to fall, the floors passing by me, one after another, seeming to get faster with every passing floor. With my feet below me, looking down towards the rapidly encroaching ground floor, I removed the metal spheres from my armor, the one containing the symbiote hatchling, and kept it in my hand, and the rest of my armor I completely liquefied, forcing it downward, ahead of me in the fall, shooting as fast as it could to the ground floor. I put every drop of focus I could into making it go as fast to the bottom as it could, and I could only hope that it would be fast enough. As it fell, I focused, creating, essentially, something that I hoped would brace my fall. I created 4 steel shafts, as long as I could manage while still putting the rest of it together. All 4 shafts were attached at the bottom, in a pyramid shape, except an extremely elongated one. And in between these 4 shafts, creating a series of connections, thin lines made from the liquid steel. But instead of taking its hardened form, I made them take the gel form and stretch out like ropes in between the 4 hardened pillars that form this upside-down pyramid, attaching them like ropes. I had no time to be neat about it. I just had to attach as many of them as I could, in as short a time frame as I could. I had no time to worry about making it look pretty or following a specific pattern. I wired them in every direction, as thin as possible and as many as I could, and then I heard it, my little creation impacting the ground floor of Barrett Tower, which meant I was soon to follow. I closed my eyes and braced myself, hoped that today was not going to be my last day. Work. Please work, I thought to myself as I hit. And as I did, I felt a flurry of hard impacts and heard a cracking sound and felt a heavy amount of tension on my body from the G-forces of falling and suddenly coming to a stop. I'm not gonna lie, it hurt. But just as fast as it hit, I suddenly felt myself going the opposite direction, being catapulted back up. It worked. It actually worked. I'm not dead. The contraption worked a lot like a trampoline, catching the force of my impact and bouncing me back up. I started hurtling back up. With the unorthodox pattern I put the ropes in, I was flailing wildly, but I wasn't dead. And my pace was starting to slow. As it did, I saw one of the floors approaching, and I grabbed hold, pulling myself up to the ledge. Looking down, I could see that I had bounced up probably a good 10 floors, and I did not feel good. That little brace trampoline may have saved my life, but it didn't do so without hurting me a great deal. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. That should be a short enough distance, I thought, as I pulled the liquid steel back up in my direction.